Can you hear me? Good.
Cool. Great. How you doing?
I'm doing great.
So obviously you dated Eric Carr for how many years?
4.
4 years. Okay, so one of the things that we obviously have to talk about is how you guys met. That has to be, is it epic?
I'm writing
or
a
is
book right now. I was going to save I'll save some of it for the book because I'm too embarrassed to say to anybody. So you get the idea. But I met him in Memphis, Tennessee, and I was going to college there. I grew up in Massachusetts, and my first Kiss concert was in Springfield when I was 16. So my mom kicks me out. My dad's living in Tennessee, and so I had to go there, and I was 18 now, so I went to the Kiss show, and I actually had a date, this long-haired guy from Little Rock, some local band, and so I didn't meet Eric the night of the show, but 2 nights later, my girlfriends and I had gone to the Peabody Hotel because Ron Wood from the Rolling Stones was having an art exhibit, and after the exhibit, my friend and I went down to the lobby bar, and there was a group of guys sitting at the next table, and from the back of his head, I thought it was Paul Stanley, because Eric's hair. And I overheard them talking about getting a card and going to this local bar called the Midway Cafe to see a band called the Willies play. And my girlfriends and I followed the Willies. They were a great local band. So I just kind of chimed in and I said, I have a car, I'll take you. And that's how we met. That's what started the whole thing. And he just said, great. And he was with this guy named Steve, he was one of the road managers, and another guy, and it just turned into this crazy drunk, talk about crazy nights. He wrecked my car that night. He literally, we had lots of Long Island iced teas, and oh my God. It's so embarrassing. I don't know why we did this because literally the club and the hotel were a 10-minute drive, but we all had to pee really bad. So we all get out of my car and it sounds so unladylike, I can't believe this happened, but we all, for some reason, peed in the street. And then Eric decided that he should drive my car. I don't know why, I guess he thought I was drunk, but he drives and there was a chain blocking the parking lot into the Peabody Hotel. So Eric just drove my car right through the chain, comes up over the windshield, smashes out my taillights. And we're also drunk that we're whatever. And that was kind of how we met. It was a crazy night.
First date with Eric Carr smashes your car.
And he never did pay me back for the repairs, come to think of it.
Did he say he was gonna? Did
Yes,
he say, I got you, don't worry?
Yeah.
That's pretty awesome.
He did.
Now, we constantly hear, and it's gotta be true because you hear from so many people about what a sweetheart he was. Did he do something that just made you go, oh my God, I love this guy? Or was
Don't
it
make me cry.
Okay, I'm sorry. Okay.
I'm gonna lose it.
Okay, so how about we go in a different direction?
It doesn't matter. Whatever you say now, I'm probably just gonna say blah the whole time. Because everything about him was that great. And I'm still in love with him. Never stopped loving him. And the small things that he did, the things that nobody knows about, that's what's most important. The little things that I've never told anyone, the silly things that couples do. We have this really weird ritual of, if I was upset about something, I would just lay on, nothing sexual, but he would go, well, do you want to lay on top of me way up high? And I would put my body on his an airplane and go, I'm way up high. I don't know, that was our silly little thing, but we were really close, really, really close. I didn't know where I ended and he began close. I've never ever been that close to anyone. Like, I didn't buy toilet paper without telling him about it, and we didn't have texting back then, you know.
That's amazing, though. Thank you for sharing that.
So let's talk a little bit. You've obviously been an actress, and you've actually been, I love 2.5 Men, so, and I love the movie Rockstar, so you're in that too. But do you do a lot of acting gigs? Is that like the main business that you're in right now? Is it easy to do?
Acting was, before I became a mom, it was my passion. How many of you are parents? Yeah, so when to be in the industry of being an actress, you have to be extremely self-centered, to be about yourself and live and breathe it. And that was fine until I had my son, and I lost a lot of my passion for it. Now that my son's 16, I'm kind of figuring out, going back to myself again, because now I have time to, now that he's a little more independent. But I have a great story, if you want, about Rockstar, because Eric is responsible for getting me that role, I think. Yeah, so Hot in the Shade tour, there were 4 leather motorcycle tour jackets, and the only people who have them were Gene and Paul, Bruce, and Eric. So I tried on Eric's, and he said, it looks better on you than it does on me, so keep it. So I have the jacket. And when I got the audition for Rockstar, I had heard that the casting people were looking for, people who had real experience, that really lived the scene. So instinctually, I wore my Hot in the Shade tour jacket to the audition, and the casting director asked me about the jacket, and I started talking. And, I told her the story about Eric giving it to me, and one thing led, piece of the conversation went to the next. And she showed me, there was a bulletin board of photos of the people who had already been cast in the movie, and I had just done Third Eye Blind's Never Let You Go video. I starred in that video. So I see the singer Stephen Jenkins, and I said, oh, this will win points for me. Like, hey, I just starred in that video. And then she shows me Zach Wilde, and she said, you'd be playing this guy's wife. And I started laughing. I said, I have a great Zach story. So I sit down and I start telling her the Zach story. Well, I was on my way to New York from LA to visit Eric, and back in the day, before 9/11, you could walk to the gate and hang out in the bar, see your friends off. So I had a girlfriend with me. Actually, she used to date Mark Slaughter. All of this goes, it's incestuous. So we meet Zach in the bar, and we're having drinks with Zach. And then my friend, goes on her way, and Zach's in first class and I'm in coach, but I had an empty seat next to me. So Zach comes back and sits next to me, and we drink like the entire flight to New York, like we just got bombed. And that last thing I remember was Zach was standing in the aisle, like giving me a shoulder massage, and I passed out. And then a flight attendant was waking me up, and there's no one left on the plane. And then I get off, and Eric's standing there waiting for me, and he goes, hey, because you know who was on your flight? Zach Wilde. And I'm like, oh, really? That's cool. Yeah, and then I barfed like all the way into Manhattan, and he was so mad at me.
All right, so since we forgot to say it at the beginning, we're going to say it a special way. So on 3, can everybody say Happy Mother's Day to Carrie? 1, 2, 3, Happy Mother's Day.
Thank you so much.
So you mentioned a book? So you're writing a book right now?
I'm not close to being done, and it's not a book about, although I could write one about Kiss. There's a lot of other interesting things that have happened in my life, way more than I actually think as I write. And I finished my Eric chapter, which is 32 pages. It took me like 4 months. I showed it to his sister to get, I don't want to show it to too many people, but I showed it to her, and she said, don't change a thing. She said, the fans will love it, and you really told it like it really happened. So I'm really proud of it. And I tackled that part of my life first because I knew it would be the most difficult. So I'm glad I'm done. I prepped me for this Expo, otherwise I don't think mentally I could have handled it. But it's funny because Eric keeps coming back. in my book. And I'll just ruin the whole book for you. But no, it's like I should call the book like Haunted by Kiss. Like you cannot get away from Kiss, can you? They're everywhere. So you'll have to, I don't want to, like it would take me 3 hours to tell you the story, but you know, after Eric died, it took a really long time. If Bruce was here, I'd ask him what year it was. You guys would probably know. He did it was so many years before I could go to concerts again, and for 4 years I really didn't smile, not a genuine smile. I couldn't even look at a jazz band. Like I just couldn't, everything was too painful. And then Bruce invited me to some show. Todd was singing at the Cat Club. I want to say 2009. So that was over a decade. Was that a decade? About a decade. That, and I'm a total rocker chick, but I let it go for a while. I just, after being around Kiss and it was just too painful. But so in between those years, when I was busy avoiding rock and roll, I go to the Super Bowl. I was hired to work at it as a playmate. I don't watch football, but anyway, I'd never seen a game in my life. But there I am at halftime, hadn't seen Kiss since Hot in the Shade, and who the hell comes on stage with their makeup on, the pyrotechnics? I'm like, oh my God, like really? I can't get away from him. Yeah.
Does anybody have any questions they'd like to ask Carrie? Right there.
Well, Carrie,
It's all right. I'm used to it.
I too have sat at a bar next to Zach Wilde. I feel cheated I didn't get a shoulder rub at the end of the day. By all accounts, Eric was like a prankster. Mm-hmm. Is that anything you could elaborate on that?
Oh, I got him back really good though. He used to stay at this apartment on Larrabee Street. It's in West Hollywood, like across from the Whiskey. The band would put him up there when he was in town. And I remember one time I went to the, it's like Rexall, the drugstore, and it was around Halloween, and I bought like a really scary, like one of those plastic masks with the hair on it that looks real, and he was taking a nap. And I came in and I like woke him up and I had that on, and he was like, that wasn't a nice thing to do. Like I genuinely scared him, like I really did. But yeah, usually it was him doing pranks. One time we trashed an entire banquet room. Well, I know we were psycho, but I would think we were bored. I really don't know what was going through our heads. But yeah, you hear about rock stars trashing hotel rooms and throwing TVs out of windows, and maybe we were fulfilling that fantasy, but we actually were in a hotel like this, and there was a banquet room like all set up for some event, and Eric and I decided to trash it. Don't ask why. I guess now I feel bad. Those poor people that had to clean it up.
Anybody else?
Oh yeah, we used to try Gene and Paul's wigs on when they weren't in the room. They were like hair pieces back then and wigs. And I wish I had the photos. Like we would all, the roadies and Eric and I would all like try it on, and you know. We used to like, okay, I'll tell you one more story because we have to tell one sort of groupie story. So Paul Stanley was in a stall. It was like, you know, backstage. It was kind of like a shower stall kind of thing. He was with some girl, and Eric and I were taking coins and like throwing them over the stalls, like to hit them in the head. Yeah. Yeah, that's the kind of stuff. No wonder like he was with me. I was just as immature as him. That's why I had a younger girlfriend.
If anybody else has a question, make sure you raise your hand. As you can probably tell by my body type, I partake in eating fudge. So it sounds like you have, I got Craig Gass laughing. It sounds like you are in the business to do fudge?
Yeah, I have a company called Infamous Fudge, and I designed 12 different recipes for fudge. And I manufacture it in a professional kitchen to keep health safety codes and all that. So, and I like it, but I'm really lucky I don't have that much of a sweet tooth. You know, I'm more like salty, crunchy, so I can have like a piece and put it down. But honestly, I have a friend who says that it helps her lose weight. because she'll have a piece that gives her the sugar high to work out. So she wouldn't work out without fudge.
Where can people, they can order it? And...
Infamousfudge.com or just carriestevens.com. It's all linked.
Cool. And now
We're at her booth for Mother's Day.
Oh, yeah, there you go. Yes, that's awesome.
Wonderful.
Anybody else? Did you ever make fun of Gene?
No one wants to make me cry. That's why I'm not asking anything.
I found some tissues.
No one wants to be
I'm
responsible.
the only jerk in the building, apparently. Do you have any good, funny Gene stories? You ever pick on Gene yourself?
I pick on Gene.
I love hearing when Gene gets picked on.
I don't think well, maybe in my later life, like post Eric, I'm trying to remember, when I was with Eric, I was petrified, I was like, of Gene and Paul, because I was a fan too. I dressed up as Peter Criss for Halloween, and I was in 5th grade, and then I was a member of the KISS Army. When I was like 16, after seeing the Animalized tour, I got obsessed and joined, back then, I think it was like a newsletter, and then I had like pen pals with other KISS fans, so it's strange I'm sitting here now. Really strange. Where was I going with that? Gene. Yeah, no, back then, I think I was like so scared to even like say hi, never mind. He was always nice to me. I was just because they were larger than life, and I felt, they made fun of me for being so young, because I was only 18 when I met Eric and 22 when he died. And so they would make fun of me openly about being young, but now I like it, because the last time I saw Paul Stanley, we were trying to figure out, he's like, how old are you? And I said, however you all are, you'll always be younger than me. And I'm like, good. Yeah.
So listen, she's set up inside the big room. Go on by. She's got pictures for sale. She's got Tongue magazine. You were on the cover. That's a good Gene. Tell that story.
So Gene, when I became a playmate, our paths, kept crossing again, because he would always be. I keep thinking of more stories now. He would be at the Playboy Mansion a lot, with Shannon, and we'd see each other at holidays, dinners, we were invited to the same parties there. And Gene, I looked at your makeup and I got so distracted because it just reminded me of something Playboy did. I'm sure you all know that the KISS issue they did. They called me and asked me to be one of the girls in that shoot. And when Playboy called and asked me to do that, I was like, what? Like, that would be awkward. I can't stand around Gene and Paul naked. I know them. Can you imagine? That would just be weird. Now I wish I sucked it up and just did it, because it would be a cool thing to have now. But it's too awkward. So, so then Gene approached me to do the interview when he launched the magazine, and we did a photo shoot and a writer. The section that I like, the part that Gene didn't write, was a professional writer, and then I wasn't originally on the cover. Gene was going through my portfolio trying to pick photos for the middle, and I happened to have that photo in my portfolio with my tongue out that I had just done for fun with a photographer, and of course he loved it and wanted it for the cover. So that's how I wound up on the cover. And then Gene didn't like the interview that the writer did. I loved it, I thought it was great. But Gene didn't think there was enough dirt, he wanted it raunchy. So I went over to his house. He wanted to interview me himself. And I took that opportunity to look him straight in the eye and say, you know what? I used to hate you. And I respect him so much because he said, I want to know all about it, tell me everything, and he printed everything that I said. And he is a very outspoken person, as we all know, but he will let you do the same thing. And that's why I respect him, because if you're gonna do that, you have to let other people have their opinions and tell their truth as well. Anyway, I only hated him because I didn't like the way they treated Eric when he was sick. But we all, you know what, I don't like talking about that too much, but it was a very difficult time for everybody, and I choose to believe that we were all doing the best that we could with the knowledge that we had at that time, and we all had different priorities, and just because their priority was business and work, and that wasn't mine, so we just differ on a point of view there. But I think everybody with their position in life at the time was doing their best.
Well, thank you very much for coming on. You're very honest, and we love it. It's great.
Someone told me yesterday that I'm just like Eric, and I said that is the ultimate compliment.
It's absolutely awesome. Thank you very much. Carrie Stevens. Don't forget, go by the booth and say hi. Get a picture, get an autograph. She's amazing. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Sorry, I don't do that. I'm not a dude.